Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, let's talk about how you know an avoidant wants to change and heal and commit. I think this is important because a lot of avoidant individuals, if they don't change, actually, anybody, even secure individuals, if they don't change some of the issues that is preventing the relationship from being more secure and healthy, the relationship is probably going to fail or have a lot of issues to which the individual's self esteem, self worth, and overall sense of well being may be affected. And so, change is incredibly important in relationships. I strongly believe this. I do. I love studying relationships. That's part of what my dissertation leans towards. And so, I think this is very important. And the very first one, if an avoidant really does change or they want to change, they will at least accept some responsibility, especially without making excuses. That means they own up to their past behavior and they don't blame you or their stress or whatever it is. They might say, I know I hurt you. I don't like to hurt you. I need to work on my anger. I need to work on, pushing people away. I don't like that I do that. And you can't necessarily change how they communicate it. It might not feel the best for you because avoidance can say things very blunt and direct. But as long as they are saying, hey, I know this is my fault, let me do something about it, that's a really big sign. And yes, avoidance do this. I know a lot of you guys in the comments are like, avoidance never change, avoidance will never change. That's incorrect. I know that you guys got hurt a lot. My dad's avoidant and my mom is pretty anxious. And in their marriage, I saw how much it affected her. And to this day, they haven't been together in a very long time. And she's still, I don't know how much that says about her, but she's still not over all the things that he's done. And she still thinks he's heartless and doesn't care and will never change. And she's just still very obsessed with that. And a lot of things that she has said, I see you guys say it in the comments. So I think it might be an anxious trait, or maybe it's someone who was with an avoidant who got really hurt, but it's not personal. And a lot of times when people believe that an avoidant won't change, they think it's somewhere they're really hurt and they think it's something wrong with them. My mom admitted to me, like, a part of her felt like it was personal. And her understanding it wasn't personal is why she acts the way she does, a little part of it. So it's like when she was in that relationship and marriage, she thought that he just didn't love her or didn't like her. And then as she knew him more and more and more, as the marriage continued and continued and continued, she started realizing, wait a second, this isn't me, this is a you thing. And it made her feel good about that, but also angry because for so long she was blaming herself or trying to fix it, and it never worked because it's a him issue. And that's why she's still so angry that he hasn't changed, that he still is not in a relationship, because that's proof that he has commitment issues and that he has avoided relationships for years. It makes her feel validated, but also angry because it makes her feel like if you had just fixed it, we could have still saved our marriage. But it didn't happen. And I think that's where some of your frustration comes from. But yes, avoidants do change. I promise there are many that do. Maybe not. I could be biased because I'm a therapist. But please keep in mind it's still possible, okay? The next one is they ask you what you need. And they listen without defensiveness. They want to understand your perspective, your boundaries, your standards, your expectations. They don't argue with your feelings. They listen to learn, not to defend or manipulate. They want to grow. Even if it's hard at first, they might really want to get defensive and they're just swallowing that. Let them process it their way. It's hard. It's really hard. I used to be avoidant. It's so hard to hear what you're doing wrong. That's like one of my biggest triggers ever to this day. I don't like it and I'm working on it. And the only way to change is to hear that, which is why a lot of avoidants don't like to change. And that's why it's harder for them to change. You guys are right in that way. And I want to validate you. It's harder for avoidants to change because one of their biggest triggers is them making mistakes and doing something wrong. And that's what it feels like, folks. If you say, hey, I'm upset that you're not emotional, what they hear is there's something wrong with you. You're flawed and you're a failure. That's what they hear. I know you didn't say that. It is what it feels like. The next one is that they're patient and they're not pressuring you to get over the pain that they caused. Maybe they were really mad, they crashed out and they said, you're too needy and you're too much and you're off-putting and frustrating. So they use a lot of really negative words and they probably didn't mean it like that. All they were saying is, can you give me a little bit of room, a little bit of space? They could have said that, but they didn't. And you're hurt. You said, okay, I'll give you space. I'll, try and change, but you didn't have to say it like that. And you're right. They didn't. And the avoidant still did. They feel really hurt about it. And they want to change. They promise to change and they're patient with you. They're patient. They're not pressuring you to get over it. They try and be happy. They try and be nice. They trust that healing will take time. They don't rush you with guilt. How long are you going to get mad at me? They don't do stuff like that because they don't like that they did that either. And they want to prove to you it's not going to happen again. The next one is their behavior is different. And also, even if you're not watching, they might make lifestyle changes. So if an avoidant is struggling with anger, a lot of times they're impatient. And so they're going to be more patient in general. Let's just say the HVAC guy is coming over to fix your air conditioning or heating system, whatever it is, and they're a little bit late. You can see that your partner used to probably be really annoyed, really frustrated, might mention, this is why, people need to work hard. They need to be on time. They need to be more communicative. I hate that people in America are, being more lazy, whatever it is. I'm not triggering anyone. This is just a lot of avoidants feel that way, at least in my area. And so that's maybe how they're feeling. And they're saying, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit patient. I'm not going to be mad. Maybe the HVAC dude's got, caught in something, whatever it is. I'm going to relax. I'm going to calm down. Okay. And so they remain calm, and you're seeing, okay, their behavior has changed. It's not always you. It's their behavior in general has changed, okay? They've mellowed out a little bit about some of the things that's triggering them. The next one is they show up consistently. Sometimes avoidants are consistent in general, but a lot of them are not. And so they keep promises, even small ones. They communicate regularly and clearly. They check in a little bit. Even when it's not necessarily their cup of tea, they're still checking in. It's not always about grand gestures. It's about them building back slowly. The next one is actually they might do some sort of inner work. They might mention therapy. They might mention working on emotional control. That's a really common one, right? They might talk about patterns they're trying to break. They may say, yeah, I was always this way. I'm trying to fix that. Or give me time. I'm listening, right? They reflect on what to do to get to the point where they don't hurt you. It's basically introspection to some extent, okay? The next one is they do respect your boundaries, even if it's sometimes hard. If you say, I don't want to talk right now, just for an hour, I'm still really hurt, they're not going to call you 2 or 3 times. Some avoidants do that when you set a boundary when they mess up because they're like, oh, you think I'm a failure? I'm going to try and change your mind. They actually have a little bit of anxiety around that. But it's not a good thing. It's not healthy. That means they're still in their wound. But if you say, you know what, I feel a little hurt, they'll say, okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to call you in like an hour just to check on you, or I'm going to come over after work and we can talk about it. But they are willing to control their impulses to make you feel better. It's not about their fears. It's about you. Okay. And so let's go ahead and summarize and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. The very first one is they accept responsibility. The next one is they ask what you need so that they can use that to reflect. The next one is they're patient. The fourth one is their behavior in general is different. The fifth one is they actually start showing up consistently. It's not just about grand gestures. It's very consistent. They keep their promises. They communicate regularly, or whatever consistency that you guys were struggling with. You're starting to see a shift. They're doing inner work. It doesn't even have to be therapy, even though, of course, I will recommend that as a therapist, but they're doing something that's introspective. And the last one is they do respect your boundaries and your need to process things a little bit slower than they would like because they know that they did mess up. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.